Welcome to this episode of the Southwest Desert on the Navajo Long March, a tragic episode in the history of the American Southwest. Today, we'll be exploring this event through the eyes of a survivor, providing a unique perspective on this often overlooked chapter of American history. In 1863, the United States government, in an effort to end conflicts between the Navajo people and surrounding tribes and white settlers, embarked on a campaign to forcibly relocate the Navajo. Kit Carson, a famous frontiersman, was tasked with leading this operation. With 800 New Mexican volunteers under his command, Carson set out to round up all Navajo tribesmen. The campaign was thorough and brutal. The Navajo were forced to march 800 miles from their ancestral lands in Canyon de Chelly to Fort Sumner, where they were interned for 4 years. This forced relocation, known as the Long Walk, ended with the signing of a treaty in 1868. Our story today comes from one of the few survivors of that long march. At the time of these events, he was a 12-year-old boy known as Very Slim Man. His account provides a vivid, personal perspective on this dark chapter of history. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman, Alan. Please leave a like, comment, and share. For further desert adventures, hit the subscribe button. Please forgive any mispronunciations. In the fall of 1863, news reached the Navajo that danger was approaching. The head chief, Barbonchito, sent messengers throughout Navajo land warning of impending doom. White soldiers, guided by Mexicans and Utes, were entering Navajo territory. Very Slim Man recalls the fateful morning when he first spotted the invaders. While on his morning run, shaking snow from juniper branches, he saw a long line of men and horses moving northward across the valley. Realizing the gravity of the situation, he alerted his father, and they quickly broke camp to seek refuge in Canyon de Chelly. As the family traveled through the night, they witnessed the destruction of their homeland. Very Slim Man remembers seeing ragged red streaks in the pitch-black valley, their fields and hogans burning. Just before dawn, they reached the rim of Canyon de Chelly. Believing they had found safety, they began their descent down the treacherous ladder trail. However, their relief was short-lived. As they reached the first ledge, gunfire erupted from above. Blue-clad soldiers had ambushed them. In the chaos that followed, Very Slim Man lost most of his family. He and his little sister were the only survivors. For 3 days, they hid in a small wind cave, surviving on water from moss in a small seepage. On the 4th day, a man named Cloggy found the children and informed them that the soldiers had destroyed everything in the canyon. Many Navajo were fleeing westward to hide on Black Mountain. Under the cover of darkness, Cloggy led the children out of the canyon and towards Black Mountain. Upon reaching their destination, they found many other Navajo refugees. After much debate, the group decided to surrender rather than risk starvation. As they made their way towards Fort Defiance, they encountered a group of hostile Mexicans. However, an American captain intervened, claiming the Navajo as his captives and escorting them to Fort Defiance. At Fort Defiance, over 2,000 Navajo were gathered in one large camp. Very Slim Man remembers the taunting of Zuni and Ute dancers, bragging about their role in the Navajo's defeat. One winter day, with snow up to the horses' fetlocks, the order came to move out. The wagon train and walking Navajo stretched out like a great black snake in the snow. Very Slim Man noted the confusing behavior of the soldiers, who could be ruthless one day and kind to Navajo children the next. The Navajo were marched eastward, passing through present-day Gallup and Fort Wingate. At San Rafael, then known as Warm Spring, they received their first rations of beef. It was here that the Navajo also encountered flour for the first time, not knowing how to prepare it and attempting to eat it raw. The journey continued along the Rio San Jose, past Cubero and Laguna Pueblo, until they reached the Rio Grande at Isleta Pueblo. Crossing the swollen river proved perilous. Very Slim Man nearly drowned but managed to cling to a log and survive, losing everything except his breechcloth and a small medicine pouch tied around his neck. After many days of travel, the Navajo arrived at their destination along the Pecos River. Fort Sumner was established in 1864 by President Abraham Lincoln as a reservation for both the Navajo and the Mescalero Apache. Life at Fort Sumner was extremely difficult. The water was poor, firewood was scarce, and attempts at farming were thwarted by grasshoppers and hot winds. Disease, particularly smallpox, ravaged the population. Very Slim Man recalls the heartbreaking sight of coyotes scavenging the bodies of the dead as the living were too weak to bury them properly. Despite the hardships, some young Navajo men, including Very Slim Man, occasionally snuck away to raid neighboring tribes like the Mescalero Apache and Comanche. These raids were driven by hunger and a desire for mischief. Very Slim Man recounts a particularly harrowing experience during one such raid. After stealing horses from the Comanche, he and his companions were pursued. In the ensuing chaos, Very Slim Man was thrown from his horse and narrowly escaped death by playing dead as the Comanche passed. He was later found by American soldiers who marveled at his luck in escaping with his scalp intact. In 1868, after 4 years of captivity, a council was held at Fort Sumner. A delegation from Washington arrived, and after lengthy negotiations with Navajo leaders including Barboncito, the Treaty of 1868 was signed. This agreement allowed the Navajo to return to their homeland. Very Slim Man, along with many others, left Fort Sumner the day before the treaty was officially signed. They made their way back to Navajo land, staying near Fort Defiance until they received sheep as part of the treaty agreements. Upon returning to his family's old camp at horizontal White Rock Point, Very Slim Man found destruction and loss. The Hogans were burned, and their hidden possessions had been taken by weather and wildlife. All he had left were the clothes on his back, 3 sheep, and the small medicine bag that had been with him throughout his ordeal. Unable to stay in a place filled with painful memories, Very Slim Man and other returning Navajos settled in the Chelly area. For the next 68 years, he would make his home on a knoll in this region. The story of Very Slim Man and the Navajo Long Walk is a poignant reminder of the complex and often tragic history of Native American peoples in the United States. It highlights the resilience of the Navajo people in the face of tremendous adversity and the lasting impact of government policies on indigenous communities. The Long Walk and the years of internment at Fort Sumner remain a defining moment in Navajo history. The Treaty of 1868, which allowed for their return, is still considered by many Navajo as their foundational document, akin to a tribal constitution. As we conclude this episode, let's reflect on the words of Very Slim Man regarding his cherished medicine pouch. Now you can understand why I never could part with this thing that saved my life 4 times on my long walk to Huelt. This small object, carried through unimaginable hardships, serves as a powerful symbol of survival, resilience, and the enduring spirit of the Navajo people. It reminds us that history is not just about dates and events, but about the life experiences of individuals caught in its currents. The story of the Navajo Long Walk, as told through the eyes of Very Slim Man, offers us a deeply personal window into a pivotal moment in American history. It challenges us to consider the human cost of past policies and the strength required to survive and rebuild in their wake. Thank you for joining us for this exploration of the Navajo Long March. We hope this episode has provided you with new insights into this important chapter of history and the resilience of the human spirit. Please leave a like, comment, and share. For further desert romps, hit the subscribe button. Happy trails!